Elon Musk said here, hard truth. And he was responding to my friend, Lauren Chen, responding to this meme, okay? The Spanish guy. 500 years of plundering in one image. Like, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. And this is just objectively not true. Because why? Because the West has given Africa trillions. I repeat, trillions of dollars in aid. What is the modern state of Africa? Still, you have slavery, you have genocides, you have terrorism everywhere, poverty, starvation. We've given them trillions. All of our wealth, our taxes, we've given them trillions in aid. Trillions that could have been used to pay off our national debt. We've given them trillions. And what did they do with it? They squandered it. That is why they were at the state that they were for all of history. Not because, oh, the white man extorted and extracted resources and colonization put these poor noble savages down. No, because the same reason why Africa cannot modernize, even after giving them trillions and trillions in aid, is the same reason why they were living in squalor and filth. They couldn't develop the wheel or written language or anything before the Europeans came and found them. It's because their people are just not fit for civilization. And I don't say that to be mean, but the thing is, when you have people of a population where their IQ is 68, like, for example, Somalia, they're not gonna be able to build functioning societies without the help of those who build society. Okay, namely, West Europe, Europeans, and East Asians, who were independent from each other for thousands of years, able to build functioning, orderly, prosperous civilizations. So Lauren Chen said this in response to this. People often say that the developing world is poor because the Western world colonized them and sold their resources. The truth, however, is that over the past century, the developing world has, for the most part, shown that they are completely incapable of harnessing their own resources. They are not poor because we stole from them. They are poor because they do not know how to run and administer their own country's resources, be damned. Take Venezuela. The world's largest oil reserves mean nothing if you have a corrupt government communist as your leader. People will actually be starving and trying to eat zoo animals while you sit on trillions of dollars in resources. Africa is another example. Europeans left behind farmland, trains, roads, and mines in Africa. What happened to it all? And that's such a good point. You know, the average life of a well in Africa is 5 years. So all these Western NGOs, right? These Westerners, these well-meaning Westerners, they come into Africa, they set up all these wells so that Africans could have money, water and access to water. And then after 5 to 10 years, they don't know how to maintain it. Even after they're taught how to maintain it, they don't maintain it. And then they go back to square one with no clean water. So we've given them all the resources. After colonization, we've given them all the resources and technology, and they can't keep up. It's not that all of a sudden the Africans started running things like anti-colonialist activists. It's not that all of a sudden the Africans started running things like anti-colonialist activists had envisioned at the time. No. All the infrastructure fell into disrepair or was stripped down and looted. They were literally I can't read today. They were literally handed fully functioning, completed supply chains for resource extraction and basically unlimited wealth, but they couldn't manage the simple keep up. Now, the defense for Africa might be that the Europeans didn't teach the Africans how to manage any of this. It's not the Africans' fault they couldn't run it independently. They were never trained. But my brother in Christ, the Europeans did try to train locals for management. Obviously, it would have been easier to have at least some locals in administration rather than having to import an entire workforce, but efforts to find African talent were largely unsuccessful. Don't believe me? Look at the different outcomes in Hong Kong and Singapore when compared to Africa. In East Asia, Europeans did work with locals in administrative and management capacities. When colonialism ended, Hong Kong and Singapore were able to manage themselves. Not the case with Africa. Korea is also a great example. After the Korean War, America helped Korea get back on its feet, and Korea is largely now independent. Now, none of this is to say that colonialism is good. People have the right to self-rule and self-determination. However, the idea that colonialism and resources extraction are responsible for the developing world's ongoing poverty, that is quite simply a crock of shite. So true. True words. True words. It's objective. Everything Lauren said here is true. Except for colonialism, okay? I think colonialism can be good or bad. It depends on who's doing the colonizing and who's being colonized and what is being colonized, right? So if you're colonizing people who are sacrificing children and sharing the gospel with them and bringing Christianity to them, I would say colonialism is good. I would say so. But if you're trying to import like trans garbage and gay race communism and share liberalism, then yeah, colonialism is not good. But yeah, it really comes down to it. All people are not the same. Like she said, Hong Kong, Singapore, colonialism ended. They're doing great. They're striving right now. Same thing with Korea. America came in and helped rebuild Korea. And now how's Korea doing? They're doing great. Korea's doing great. They tried that in Africa. It's not working in Africa. Because here's the bottom line. IQ is a real thing. The differences in race is a real thing. Intelligence, IQ is a inherited trait. So it's not colonialism. It's not plundering, resource extraction from Africa that resulted in Europe being so strong and rich and Africa being so poor. It's just not, objectively not the case. We went in, gave Africa trillions of aid, helped develop them, gave them the technologies, trained them, built the infrastructure. We leave, they squander it, they pillage it, they leave it completely destroyed and completely don't know how to maintain it, even though we trained them to. They destroy all the infrastructure that Europeans left behind. Look at South Africa. How is South Africa going? After apartheid ended and now the native Africans are taking over. How's that going for South Africa? What about Rhodesia? How's that going for Rhodesia? The bottom line, this idea that noble savages and white man bad, and if you just let them alone, they would have been great, it's just garbage. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Some peoples will never be able to move past this kind of squalor and filth without the help of first world peoples helping them. And that might sound condescending. That's inconvenient, but it's true. It is true. Objectively, look at the state of Africa today, even though we've given them trillions of aid. You compare them to East Asia, both were colonized, all the stuff, right? All the colonization, blah, 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 resource extraction, blah, blah, blah. What happened? East Asian countries are sustainable, they're self-sufficient, they're thriving, they're growing. African countries are not. Metal Naven, I just found that Trump is sending 2,000 federal agents to Minneapolis. Yeah, we covered that earlier. Yeah, based. Will Tanner said this. Before colonization, Africa was stuck in the Stone Age and ruled by cannibals. With colonizations, it got hugely expensive ports, railways, hospitals, schools, justice systems, modern mines, functional farms, and more. Then colonization was snuffed out in the name of equality, and since then we've sent trillions to Africa in the name of aid, which has done nothing but help a few kleptocrats buy Bentleys to drive around in. The opposite of this image is true, yet Africa is still a hellhole. So true, so true. That's the reality. All peoples are not the same. Plundering colonization from these leftist, stupid imperialists are so retarded. Cuban from Chaparral. Okay, he's Cuban. He's an anti-imperialist activist. Cuban activist. He's an actual retard. He's an actual retard. It's such cope. It's just objectively not true. European wealth was not built on resource extraction from the third world. Because like Lauren said, these people were sitting on literal gold, liquid gold, rare earths, valuable minerals, resources that people fought wars for. They're sitting on it, doing nothing with it. Nothing. And how did European civilization and Eastern civilization find ways to harness and use resources, natural resources, for their benefit to build civilization? And how did Africa and the indigenous peoples not be able to do that for millennia? It's because not all peoples are the same. And that's okay. It doesn't make them any less human. But we have to be real with that. Because this whole blank slateism results in we're all the same, so why not import mass hordes of third worlders into your country? The result of importing mass foreigners from the third world into your country is that your country dies. Your country dies. It literally dies. And it's destroyed. Because these people don't know how to build, they only know how to destroy. So we have to be real about this. Let's be real about it. Again, the left versus the right. And a lot of rightoids get sucked into this dialectic too from the left, and that we're all the same. We're not the same. No one actually believes this. If you live in reality, you don't believe this. There's a reason why, okay, black people constantly underperform in this country no matter what. They've been given free handouts, from the government. They have specific colleges for them, specific schools for blacks, specific programs, job programs, government programs for blacks. And they still underperform massively compared to whites and Asians. You can't, at a certain point, you can't chalk it up to resources. Resources. It is not resources. It is a thing where you'll have disparate people will have differences among them. Okay? Like it's just like there's a reason, okay? There is a reason why this is true. You can't just constantly chalk it up to resources and culture. Culture is a big part of it. But again, who creates the culture? It is the people. So while the culture affects the people are the ones who create the culture. I don't understand how conservatives don't understand this. And so, because that is true, by nature, the conditions that different groups of people live in is racial. It is biological. And I am not a racial determinist. I think that's just factually untrue. But I'm a racial realist in that all the traits that we have are inherited, okay? Most of the traits, a lot of the traits, intelligence is inherited. Our personality traits, our dispositions, these are inherited, okay? My height, my bone density, my skin color, my eyes, like these are all inherited, and these are part of who I am. These are part of who you are, and these are a part of what makes a person, and by extension, a people group, and that people group dictates and decides their culture. And so for thousands of years, you had certain groups of people that continued to live with nothing, and then you have other groups of people that built civilization, the greatest works of architecture and art and literature, infrastructure, technology, innovation. Like, you can't just constantly chalk that up to culture and resources. When literally Africa is a gold mine, no pun intended, for resources. South America is a gold mine for resources. So that's my rant. But while East Asian society and European society was for thousands of years developing, growing, developing, what was the third world doing? What is the third world doing today? You go to the Ganges River, they're literally still swimming in cow poop and people poop, and they think it blesses them. Most African countries don't even have a functioning, stable government. It is like, and then people will still say, oh yeah, but like, it's just culture. But again, who decides the culture? It's the people. So you can't dismiss the fact that a lot of these differences are biological. And this is the fundamental lie. And if you're able to break that lie of blank slateism, that we're all the same, so therefore, if you're just born in a different circumstance, if you were just born in a different country, things would be exactly the same. If a sub-Saharan African was raised in wealthy New York, Long Island, that they would end up in the exact same place as a white kid, it's just not true. Factually, too, look, the crime rate of wealthy blacks is higher than the crime rate of poor whites. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, what else am I supposed to say? People keep talking up to culture. Yes, but who determines culture? It's the people. So these people have clearly decided that this is better for their culture. And it's like, if they decide that, so be it. But then they yell and scream at us when we say, hey, don't do that. And how many people groups have derogatory terms for any person in their group that becomes successful and moves out of their bad neighborhood? One in US, a community that discourages wealth creation. Yes, there's only one community, really, okay, in America that discourages wealth creation because you're trying to be like a white person. You're trying to be like the white man. To be a part of polite society, to present yourself well, they call that being white. It's like how else are you supposed to wake them up out of it? And that's why increasingly, like, the high IQ blacks, I know that sounds very politically incorrect, but it's just a reality. The high IQ blacks, the godly blacks, like, they increasingly, who do they marry? Broadly speaking, who do they marry? They marry white people. I have black friends who I love dearly I keep saying, yo, you gotta find a godly black woman to wife up. They're like, where are they? I can't with black women, dude. I need to marry a white girl because these black women did crazy. So it's like they're literally ostracized from their own community because they're seen as traitors if they want to move ahead in society without the degenerate means. If you move ahead in society through, you know, mumble rap and gang banging, and they're like, yeah, that's tough, right? And then, but then if you accumulate wealth by starting a business and being literate and being a teacher, right? They're like, oh, like, what are you trying to do? Trying to be like the white man? Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we got to get away from that lie. It's not hateful. It's not hateful to understand and acknowledge differences with people, because the lie of blank slateism that we're all the same, it is literally a form of Gnosticism, that you are just your spirit, that your body means nothing. And while Christians say that's wrong for transgenderism, they say it's right when it comes to our ancestry and race, and that's just a load of baloney. It's a load of baloney. It really is. It really is. Pure Dove can confirm black women are mostly taught to be masculine. They are. They are, and that's not hateful. It is just a general observation of reality. Like, I've met, again, I said it on stream, I've met lovely black women. Lovely, lovely black women. I've mentioned it too. That I was in Nashville, checking into my hotel, and the front desk lady was this lovely, lovely black woman. So polite, spoke proper English, just greeted me with a smile. Hey, what can I do for you, love? Like, just that southern hospitality. And I left I felt all my black fatigue leave my body in that moment. I'm like, man, if every single black woman was like this woman, every single person would be fighting each other, crawling through glass to have encounters with black women. But the reality is that's not the case for the majority of instances with black women. They're rude, they're violent, they're disruptive. And so, you know, if all black women acted like that, man, I'd be like, I love black women. I still love black women. Don't get me wrong, I love black women. But I'd be always vying to want my customer service representative, that cashier at the fast food restaurant. I would want every single person I encounter to be a black woman. But they're not like that. They're not like that.